The Pennine Way is the toughest and wildest long-distance walk in England.
For those brave enough to attempt it, it can be 268 miles of mud, sweat and tears.
It's gruelling, but the rewards are amazing.
Just look at the beauty of it. It's magnificent.
The Pennine Way was Britain's first national trail. It's a journey along the elevated backbone of England, a major physical challenge, a walk to escape the buzz of modern life.
And now the Pennine Way has reached its own milestone. It's 50 years old.
In this series, I'm seeing the Pennines in a very different way.
It's nice to have a little challenge in your life and see if you can still do it.
But I'm also looking at life along the trail, just how much has changed since the first walkers set out on the Pennine Way all those years ago. They say it's not the destination, but the journey that counts. That certainly feels true, having sampled some of the best bits of the Pennine Way. Now I'm on the final leg, and there's just over 80 miles to go. I'm picking up the path as it heads towards Hadrian's Wall. From there, I'll be entering the remotest section of the route as it winds its way through Northumberland. It's then a steady climb into the Cheviot Hills before crossing the Scottish border for the finish line in the village of Kirk Yetholm. Before then, I've a few stop-offs planned, and I've reached the Cumbrian market town of Alston. This was once one of the richest towns in the Pennines, and its wealth was built on lead. In the 18th and 19th centuries, there was a Klondike-style rush for the hills, but when the mines closed, the North Pennines suffered major depopulation. What's left is now a tourist attraction.
Hey Pete, this is fantastic.
It is, isn't it? This is great.
As Britain became industrialised, lead ore was in high demand.
So is this lead right here, Pete?
Yeah, you can see the shiny silvery grey stuff on the rocks here. That's the lead. Yeah. And if you pick up a piece, you can feel how heavy it is.
Yeah, all right. Oh yeah, of course, it's heavy. Yes. Well, I don't know why I'm surprised. It is lead,
it is lead after all, yeah. So imagine standing every day picking lumps like that, filling a mine wagon, hour after hour.
Really tough old boys, weren't they? OK, so now how do you get it out?
Well, here we've got the drill, and you've got a big hammer to go with it.
Good hammer, yeah. Good
and there's a hole. Put your chisel in, hit it with the hammer, and keep going.
OK, yep. You have to keep turning it, yeah?
That's right. Get the dust out by turning it. That's great.
The mining fueled a boom time, but it was a perilous trade. The lead could only be hacked or blasted out of the rock. The explosives were effective, but often highly dangerous.
Once it's gone off, all the explosive residue and a huge amount of dust in here.
That's right, yeah, we've got gas and dust, haven't we, in the atmosphere? And you and I are breathing that in, and you're working in it for 8 hours. No ventilation, just...
And working hard, so you're breathing hard.
That's right,
This stuff is going deep in the lungs. It couldn't have been healthy.
Not at all. Life expectancy of the mine is about 30.
30?
Mm-hmm. And the proof of the pudding is that if we unfortunately had an accident with the explosives when we were a bit younger, and maybe we lost our eyesight, couldn't be a miner anymore, those guys live till they're about 80.
The impact of the North Pennine lead bonanza can still be seen. And recent test drilling for zinc shows there remains an appetite to try and chase down the mineral wealth left in these hills. Mining in the North Pennines goes back centuries, but now I'm heading towards Hadrian's Wall, where archaeologists are going even further back in history.
This is Vindolanda, an extensive Roman fort system, and they've been doing excavations here for over 40 years and have made some of the most important discoveries about what Roman life was like nearly 2,000 years ago.
Of the many remarkable finds, one stands out. It's the Vindolanda tablets. Pieces of parchment bearing the writing of the Romans who once lived here.
I mean, this place is huge. There are 9 forts stacked on top of each other, superimposed. They build one, The guys move out, knock it down, you guys come, build another one. But each time they do that, they seal the stuff underneath, and it's
So
amazing.
you reckon you've got over 100 years work left here?
I will never see the end of the excavations at Vindolanda. Well, I hope somebody does.
The site reveals its secrets on a daily basis.
Look at this, just the beautiful fine detail and the way it feels. And when it comes out of that muddy hole, it just seems to pop. Something very meaningful about getting these out of the ground, It's not just a lump of old pottery you walk past, it just feels great.
The most prized artefacts are the pieces of Vindolanda tablet, the oldest surviving handwritten documents in Britain that shed light on life at the edge of the Roman Empire.
We've got men outside the fort writing to the fort saying, we need more beer, we're running out of beer, where's the beer? And we've got slaves writing to each other, writing lessons. And we've got centurions brushing up on their classics while sitting on the toilet. Everybody's writing. To take part in this community, you have to be literate to get the best out of it. And so they taught everybody how to read and write.
And as we sift the soil, we make an astonishing discovery.
Oh, you're joking.
What is it?
Well, hang on a second. That is a writing tablet.
Oh!
I'm not joking. That is part of an ink
Oh,
document.
you're a good man.
That
I
is-
nearly missed that,
So we've got about 10 minutes now to get this into water.
Holy smokes, what do we do?
Rupert, would you do me a favour? Would you run up to the top excavation shed, in the back room, find me a small plastic tub and bring it back within 10 minutes? Thank you. We can't see any writing on that one, that fragment. You see how thin it is?
Yep,
Very, very thin, slightly shiny.
yep, and that's wood.
That's wood, and that's probably part of a writing tablet.
It all seemed a bit theoretical, and all of a sudden, there we were. Andrew stopped us and goes, that is a 2,000-year-old writing tablet. And it's a real stopper. Hey, thank you very much.
The tablet is placed in trench water to slow the decaying process. The fragments are small, but the story these parchments tell is huge.
So how lucky were we to find that today?
Very lucky. I mean, to be honest, we find a lot of tablets on this site, but in terms of Roman Britain as a general whole, ultra rare. We'd be lucky if 1 or 2 of these is found in the UK per year outside of Vindolanda, so it's very special to get one.
Thank you, it's great having it actually on my hand.
Well, yeah, you're holding in your hand there 2,000-year-old paper. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I'll say, I just wish I knew it. It says in it, dear mum, send more food.
The Vindolanda tablets are just one of the windows into another world of life along Hadrian's Wall. The Pennine Way follows it for 8 miles along the crest of the Windsill, the same hard rock I've seen earlier in Teesdale. This is a landscape that's inspired countless artists, including Catherine Tickell, one of the great exponents of the Northumbrian pipes. Catherine's family grew up near here, pretty close to the Pennine Way.
My granny used to look out sometimes at the hill at the other side, and you could occasionally see hikers coming across. I remember my granny would always be, hey, there's some hikers. And it would be like, they'd come from outer space or something. Suddenly, oh, look. So we were always aware of, people doing the Pennine Way, but it did seem like something like, oh, look at them, what are they doing?
Well, I'm heading north from here. What shall I expect?
Well, again, you're going into, real border country. There's such history there. You're going to meet some characters.
I'm going to try and carry some of your music with me as I go. Maybe that'll help.
I hope so.
This stretch was one of the favourite sections for walking guru Alfred Wainwright. With all the ups and downs, it's tough going, but you do get some cracking views. But as I leave the wall behind, the open spaces disappear and trees dominate. These huge conifer plantations around Kielder were planted after the First World War, but they didn't please everyone.
As Wainwright said in his guidebook, these trees have been planted so close together, they're living the lives of battery hens. It's a great line.
Now there's much more thought about planting other native trees, which provide cover for one of our rarest creatures.
In this quiet wood, there's a battle being fought, and what's at stake is the future of one of Britain's most iconic species.
This wood, close to the village of Bellingham, is the front line in a bid to stop non-native grey squirrels encroaching on red squirrels' territory. The greys live in higher densities than the reds and carry a virus which is deadly to their smaller cousins. Volunteers monitor the tree line, setting traps to catch the greys, which are then humanely dispatched. It's a drastic measure, but numbers of reds have fallen dramatically. 50 years ago along the Pennine Way, that had been a much more common sight.
The early Pennine Wayers would have seen quite a few red squirrels, but not anymore. I've been waiting hours just for this one.
Red squirrels are a protected species, and seeing one in these forests has to be high on anyone's list. But it's not the only attraction in this remote part of Northumberland.
It's not just the trees that bring people to Kielder Forest, it's the nighttime view.
The Pennine Way takes you deep into dark sky country. With minimal light pollution, it's one of the best places in Britain to go stargazing.
If you come to a dark place like Northumberland, which is the darkest part of England, even though the moon's up, you know, we can still see the Milky Way. It's something from a town and a city, even the very best nights, we never see the Milky Way. It's like never seeing your own neighbourhood.
And the views from this part of Northumberland are simply astonishing. As the 20th century progressed, light pollution dulled our exposure to a great natural spectacle.
50 years ago, the early Pennine Wayers, would they have had a darker experience?
Yes, they would. The Pennine Way would have been a dark sky trail, a really good one. These days, there are dark places. The North Pennines is very dark, and then Northumberland, it really opens out, if you like, and you get these magnificent vistas. In a sense that the Pennine Way becomes a Star Trek. But we've lost so much of our dark sky. You can see that on satellite maps. Even over the last 20, 15 years, that period, we've lost a lot of the dark sky. So really, these places are becoming quite rare, quite far and few between, if you like, and they're really important to try and preserve them.
On a clear Northumbrian night, upwards of 2,000 stars can be seen with the naked eye. Use a telescope and the sky reveals its true colours.
What do you see, Paul?
I guess thousands of needles of light is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, that's not a bad description, yeah. I mean, these are up to 1 million stars, just like our sun, bunched together under the force of gravity.
Yes.
And that's, we call this a globular cluster.
And how far away is it?
Well, that's a long way away. That's 25,000 light years away. Still part of our galaxy, still part of the Milky Way. But you're talking about a very old object as well, but these look spectacular, these kind of objects in a dark sky. They do shine a bit like diamonds on velvet, don't they?
This shimmering reef of stars is why this 572 square mile area is now the largest expanse of protected night sky in Europe.
It's almost like you walk in, not just back in time to the original sort of the Pennine Way trackers, but you're almost walking back in time through the universe, because of course we can see dimmer objects here. We're looking further back in time, if you like. We're looking further back in time, the universe. And it's just a cosmic zoo up there, you know, and there are lots of animals there to admire, and a great place to do it.
The remote terrain of Northumberland makes it a walker's paradise. But fall into difficulty here and you'll be relying on the Mountain Rescue Service to get you out of trouble.
They obviously practice regularly, and today's exercise is all about finding a casualty, and that's me.
What I'd like to do, Paul, is put you out, deploy you down here.
The Northumberland National Park Mountain Rescue Team was born out of tragedy. In November 1962, 2 shepherds died after being caught in a fierce blizzard in the Cheviot Hills. 3 years later, this unit was formed. It coincided with the start of the Pennine Way, and they've been rescuing hikers ever since.
I've entered this valley, turned my ankle and taken a really bad fall on some small rocks down here. So it's a great scenario because this is the sort of thing that happens out here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking part, but I need to go get lost.
While I take cover, Sam the search dog is going to sniff me out.
It's a game. When I actually get to the body, he'll get a squeaky toy. That's his reward for doing the job. But it's got to be fun. If you make it too serious, the dogs don't work. He'll go up and down until he picks up the scent, and then if it's at 90 degrees, he'll turn into the scent and just follow that scent right to its source.
Oh, here we go. That's interesting. The dog comes, spots me, and runs back to get the handler. It's sort of like, oh, I've got it, and I'll come back again. And can you imagine, that must be the greatest sound in the world. If you're laying here having banged your head on this and injured your leg and lost and confused and in a real mess here, desperate for some help, imagine how that sounds. The friendly bell of a rescue dog and these experts coming to help. You know, it sort of emphasises that remoteness and wildness that we all love.
Yeah.
It's why we do this.
Exactly.
These are the big green lights for us, aren't they? Remote, wild, you know, you can get a real sense of adventure, but then the flip side of that is that when it all goes wrong, the adventure, the remoteness, the wildness, we don't want that anymore. I want a nice friendly dog and some good people to look after me.
Kill you, Andrew. Kill your control. Go ahead, over.
It's only by conducting regular exercises that the team can be ready for the real emergencies.
It's all right, it's good. I'm good.
For more than 30 years, the volunteers have worked with RAF Sea Kings based at Bulmer on the Northumbrian coast. But the ageing choppers are being replaced by a civilian rescue service based at Humberside Airport. The new helicopters are faster, more advanced and better equipped, but they're further away. The mountain rescue teams will remain a vital part of dealing with any incident on these fells.
The earlier days, I don't go back that long. Call-outs on the Pennine Way may have been far and few between, but now they are a regular occurrence. So our development over those 50 years along with that has meant that the Pennine Way, or this stretch of the Pennine Way, is certainly a safer place for walkers.
There'll be people around here today who will be thinking every day, thank heavens, mountain rescue team.
I'm sure there are lots of people who complete the Pennine Way, or rather didn't complete the Pennine Way, are sat at home or often think, well, thanks for the mountain rescue.
Yeah.
Just 28 miles from the end of the Pennine Way, you'll find yourself in Burness. It's a remote form of Forestry Commission village and is the last place on the route where you can get a bed. There are a couple of overnight options. Joyce Taylor and her husband Colin have provided home comforts for thousands of weary hikers.
We had some French guys came and they were soaking. They were soaked to the skin. And we got them in the conservatory and we said, take all your wet gear off and we'll get it in the drying room for you, get it dried for the morning.
Great.
And so they started and they took their wet gear off, they took the waterproofs off, took the jumpers off, took the shirts off, and then they started taking the trousers off. And I said, whoa, stop there. And he goes, oh, but my underpants are wet. And I said, and they can stay wet. No, go to your room for that, not here.
See, that's the French for you, I think.
They were very French. But they were lovely. They were ever so nice guys.
And it's not just a bed and a meal. Every walk-in need is catered for.
It's the ultimate service for walkers, as far as I can tell, is that you not only make everybody feel incredibly welcome,
Yeah.
but you do boots as well.
Well, I mean, if you had a hard day's walking, you don't want to start clotting around with your boots. You don't want to start washing your socks. I don't
You
mind
do
doing
socks
it.
as well?
Yeah. I don't mind putting my hands in a bowl of water with soap and squeezing them out, drying them, hanging them up, and I'll set them all out ready in the morning when they come down for breakfast.
That's
there.
Colin, I've spent all of my life walking on every continent all over this planet, and I've never been anywhere where someone will dry me boots, clean them and wash me socks, ever.
Well, you've got a first here. That's my job. That's what I say, and I enjoy it. I don't enjoy the smell, but I enjoy it.
Plenty of boots have marched across these hills, and this flag is a clue to what type.
We all know that the red flag means danger, and today is going to be as dangerous as it gets, I reckon.
The route passes close to the army firing ranges near Otterburn, a place that's been bombed, blasted and blown up for more than a century. Most of the time it's out of bounds to hikers, but today I've got special permission to be here, and with live bullets being fired, I'm taking a few precautions.
It feels very heavy, very hot, but I'm pretty sure this is apparently for flak, and this is the bit I care about. This is a metal armoured plate which will protect my ticker, and I guess all the other bits and pieces can just look after themselves, I suppose. All that most of us see is a huge great red flag and a sign that says do not come in.
Yep.
But you know what that means?
Yeah.
We want to be in there.
Yeah, well, a sign to say don't come in here will only mean one thing, isn't it? There's something interesting going on in there. It sounds very appealing for somebody to want to come and have a look at it, but for me it's all safety related, because there's a lot of unexploded ordnance in there. It's a dangerous area and we need to manage it accordingly.
The ranges take up 1/5 of the Northumberland National Park and are shared with 30 tenant farmers. So with all this weaponry being fired, how does the army keep the peace with its neighbours?
We will be literally firing artillery into a given area, and that'll include Apache helicopters, fast air, whatever we want, machine guns. We'll move the livestock. We'll then conduct the military activity. We'll then turn the military activity off, and then the livestock will be back in there and a farmer on his quad bike with 2 dogs.
Thousands of British and NATO soldiers have honed their fighting skills on these hills, and today they've got a new recruit.
I'm on exercise with the Grenadier Guards. They're going up the valley to take out the enemy. And I have a feeling things are about to get a little... Ah, there we go. And the thing is, this is live ammunition. This is a live exercise, so glad I've got my lid on.
Valley, where are you? Double.
With 90 square miles of land, all sorts of battle scenarios can be played out.
The team are moving up the valley, but above them here there's a machine gun firing just over them, and these guys are firing here, and just over here are some snipers as well, so all this live firing suddenly feels really close.
The instructors guide the machine gunners, but in this little firefight, the bullets are only going one way.
Well, here's what they're aiming at, and as you can see, there's some pretty good shots around here.
The landscape takes a pounding, but the army says the land inside the range has more biodiversity than many areas outside it.
Every ammunition we fire is monitored, any residual hazards, all this type of stuff, to keep the landscape, apart from the fact that it goes bang and it explodes, the rest of it is sort of environmentally managed so that we don't adversely have an adverse impact on the landscape.
Back on the battlefield, the bullets are still flying.
Yeah, so the firing is continuous now from the hillside, and there's smoke ahead, so the guys all stopped, hunker down for a while, work out the next move.
It's been great to get an insight into what happens on the other side of the Pennine Way.
Well, that's it. The battle's almost over, and our good lads in the Grenadier Guards, they've won. It's been a great day, but there's one thing I have learned, is that you have to respect those red flags out there, because on this side of the red flags, it's a highly dangerous place.
The end of my journey is almost in sight, but one major obstacle stands in the way. The Cheviot Hills are more than 2,000 feet high. They're a test for any walker and a fitting finale to the route. The stone flags are here to stop the peat from being eroded, but they're not the only man-made object in the landscape.
This fence separates Scotland on that side from English soil over here, and it's a huge great fence stretching off into the distance. I mean, it looks about the same, but there are some essential differences. On that side, Scotland, I could camp right there if I wanted to. But here in England, I'd have to ask the landowner's permission, and I might not always get it. But still, we're all enjoying the same great views, aren't we?
And I'm not the only one taking in the spectacular scenery.
All right.
All right, mate.
How you doing?
Fancy seeing you here.
Where have you come from?
I just come from over there.
Jimmy Robley has just done all 268 miles of the Pennine Way, and now he's on his way back.
It's a brilliant walk. I mean, it's different, it's totally different. You know, there's no snow-capped mountain, but it's absolutely, you've only to look. Look at that. You're not going to find that anywhere.
Jimmy tells me he was born close to the Pennine Way in Yorkshire, worked on it as an adult, and in his retirement he's walking the darn thing, and he's come prepared.
Yeah, I'm totally self-sufficient, like, you know what I mean? I've everything in here, even a bottle of red.
Bloody good man.
But I can't show you because it's right at the bottom of the bag, like. I don't have it at the top, I might start drinking it before tonight, you know.
Bloody great.
That's why it's so heavy.
Despite it being a long old slog, I understand why people want to do the Pennine Way. Tom Stevenson's vision for a long green trail still holds true. Walking through some of Britain's most wild and remote scenery is simply liberating.
Yeah, this looks like a good place to stop.
What are you telling me? Wow.
Padgett Lazari looks after the last bit of the Pennine Way on English soil, and he's convinced the route remains the same challenging test that Tom wanted.
People come from all over the world.
Yeah.
People travel all over the world on all these great glamorous walks.
Yeah.
But they still come here and do the Pennine Way.
They do, and I think it's because it's where it is, this landscape, the whole history of the Pennine Way. It is one of the most iconic walking routes there is, probably in the world. Still feel that national trails, certainly in this country, in the UK, are really like the sort of Premier League of walking routes.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
It must feel great if you've walked the whole way and you get to here,
yeah,
and you suddenly go, there's the finish.
That's exactly right. You've covered some ground and you're nearing the end of your journey.
Some people complete the 268 miles in a few weeks. Others take a lifetime.
Well, that's it. I'm in Scotland now. Kirk Yetholm, a couple of miles away, and that's the end. Fantastic.
The Border Hotel in Kirk Yetholm marks the finishing point of the Pennine Way. Wainwright used to treat walkers to a free half of beer, but the money has long run out. The pub has continued the tradition, but only if you've done the full length of the route in one go. Tom Stevenson created the Pennine Way so we could all enjoy the call of the hills. And 50 years on, it's left an indelible mark on more than just the British countryside.
I like to think that Tom would appreciate that it's not just the Pennine Way that's changed, but the lives of hundreds of thousands of people that have done all or part of the route. They must be richer for having immersed themselves in one of the last great homegrown challenges.
And for someone like me who's been to some pretty wild places, my Pennine Way journey has been a life-affirming adventure along the very backbone of Britain.